Page 4 now, the 2020 presidential campaign. It began on November 7, 2018, the day after the midterm election. Democrat vultures are circling their political prey already, and President Donald Trump is their target. Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Terry McAuliffe, Amy Klobuchar, Michael Bloomberg, Cory Booker, Kirsten Gillibrand, and of course Hillary Clinton. They are all in it at this moment, officially or unofficially, in one way or another. And the reason they believe they can defeat Donald Trump is not because of the 45th president's record. Donald Trump has accomplished great things in his first 2 years. His record is solid. No, these political vultures can read a map, an electoral map. And what do they see? Well, they see many states that were once red are now blue. Yes, it's part of a trend. And at this moment, there's no stopping it. I wish I could tell you differently, which brings us to Senator Kamala Harris and her disgusting dress down of Ronald Vitiello, the acting director of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and her comparison of ICE to the KKK. Harris's antics are an attack on the rule of law, yes, of course. But the reason behind it is even more politically nefarious.
Are you aware of the perception of many about how the power and the discretion at ICE is being used to enforce the laws? And do you see any parallels?
I do not see any parallels between
I'm talking about perception.
Officers and agents.
I'm talking about perception.
I do not see a parallel between what is constitutionally mandated as it relates to enforcing the law.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
Stop tape. Okay, so see what's going on here is that Kamala Harris is setting up this poor gentleman who's trying to do his job, who's trying to testify before a Senate panel, who's trying to enforce the rule of law, who's trying to enforce the United States Constitution. She doesn't care about his answer. She's just playing to a particular audience here. That's all she's doing. Roll tape.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me?
Stop tape.
No,
That's exactly what she's asking. And she's going to deny it, but that's exactly what she's asking. But why? What is going on here? All right, this is what the map looks like to a person like Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton, fill in the blank, a radical Democrat. They look at California. California is a huge electoral gold mine. We all know that. It's a very, very blue state. But then just next door, they look at Nevada. Nevada used to be a red state, purple turning red. And then next to that, Arizona used to be a red state, purple turning blue. And then you move to Illinois, which is a solid blue state. Then you move to Virginia. Used to be a red state, it's now a blue state. Then we move south to Florida. What is happening in Florida? Well, this vote count should tell you what's happening in Florida. Florida was a red state. Certainly it's purple now, and it's on its way to blue. So they look at the electoral map, and they see the only remaining firewall. Let's face it, we need to be honest here for 2020. The only remaining Republican firewall is Texas. But look what happened to Senator Ted Cruz in that race. Yes, much of this was media hyperbole and this love affair with Beto. But let's face it, it was a little bit closer than I think anyone would have predicted in the Lone Star State. So when you step back and you look at the map, this map is daunting for Republicans. And it's very inviting and welcoming for Democrats. But she's also looking at what happened. How did that map turn from so many shades of red to so many shades of purple and deep blue? Well, you have to dig down behind the numbers. And this last midterm election can tell you a few things. Number one, 11% of the people who voted in this midterm election were Hispanic. The other statistic we need to worry about and be concerned about and be real about is 30% of the voters were under the age of 29. This would be the millennial type voters. So when you add the 11% plus the 30%, that's a very large voting bloc. So what does that have to do with Kamala Harris and her degrading of the great men and women who work in law enforcement, who work for ICE? A very, very valuable resource and one that we can never get rid of from the American landscape. Why is she attacking ICE and comparing it to the KKK?
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.